Hey guys, so I know it's been a little bit, but I'm gonna go through everything um, as quickly as I can because there's a lot that I want to talk about. First off, I've been really sick, um, coughing a lot. Obviously, I look like crap. Um, it's been a rough week. Uh, there's nothing else going on at the house or anything. Nothing's wrong per se, but it just we've been busy and I've been tired and exhausted and I can't sleep. When I do sleep, my son doesn't let me sleep. So, oh, excuse me. Okay. So we had BlizzCon this week. They announced a bunch of stuff. Retail WoW is getting a new patch. We knew that. There's a new balance coming out for retail. We knew that. Um, the mall sucked. We knew that. Um, we're gonna fight Sylvanas. Probably not kill her. The story of retail is so like boring now at this point. It's expected. Like they're going to turn Sylvanas into another Garrosh and blah 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 blah. It's I don't know. I don't know what the writers of retail WoW are thinking. No, the game is fun. The game is still very fun. The raids are Castle Nathria was boring. But most first raids are boring. Like if you look at every expansion outside of the Burning Crusade, like every first raid was very dull. Like you can't tell me that you can walk into Molten Core and be excited. There's nothing going on in that place. What one boss turns you into gives you a fucking debuff that turns you into a bomb. You gotta get away from everybody else. What do you fucking do? Fucking dungeon bosses have more mechanics now than Baron Geddon had. One boss, you just tank ads. That's it. That's basic dungeon mechanics. It's Molten Core was boring. BC got Karazhan, and Karazhan was actually really good for a first raid. Wrath, we had Nax, boring. I think it was exciting for some people because they hadn't seen Nax. I mean, I did in vanilla, but not everybody did. So for the ones of us that did see it, it was boring. It was the same fucking fights over and over again, except they were baby mode because they were accommodating it for 10 people instead of 25. What do you fucking do? Cataclysm we had. Cata raids were okay because we got like 3 at launch, which was crazy. Anyway, so on, so on, so on. Most first raids are dull, and that challenge has not been any exception. Castle Nathria is just a bunch of vampires and stuff. It's not. Some of the fights are okay. Most of them weren't. Sergeant Nathrius was a pretty fun fight, like very like blackhandish, but yeah, learning the learning those fights with dumb people, not dumb people, but that's a bad way to phrase it. It's just like it was the same thing on Blackhand. You get people who don't know basic stuff, like don't do this or don't do that, you're gonna have a really bad time. It's just no matter how you slice it, a few bad eggs is gonna really wipe your raid, and you just do over and over and over. Like my current retail guild, it's the same thing every week. Like Tuesday, we're gonna go in there, and nothing's gonna change. It's gonna be the same fucking shit. It's gonna be we're gonna die a couple times on phase one because people can't follow direction. Then when they do follow direction on phase one, then we're gonna get to phase two, and then like people aren't gonna get enough stacks, so like the priests are gonna have to grip them or whatever happens. We have like a disc priest that has to grip people in like every time. And you get to phase two, people are gonna stack on each other with impale, gonna fucking kill each other. Or the ads are gonna die, or we're gonna lose 3 or 4 people during phase two. And if you lose 3 or 4 people during phase two, it's a wipe on phase three because that's when the fight really starts. And when it's happened the same way for the last 2 to 3 weeks. We have a couple bad eggs, and they wipe the raid. We go back in, we do it again, and we do it again, we do it again. and over and over and over and over and over, and I will top the damage meters every single attempt because people aren't paying attention. So I mean that right now that's retail. It's boring. The Great Vault to me is kind of annoying because it forces us to do Mythic Plus when we really don't want to do it. Like I really wish it was like the Warlords of Draenor like setups, like where you could legitimately just log in to raid. Like I haven't done it, hardly anything in retail this week. I didn't raid on Friday. Fucking log in and I did some battlegrounds for a while to help some guild members, and that's like it. And it's not just me. Our other guild members aren't doing Mythic Plus either. Like nobody's doing them. So that's retail. So anyway, they announced a new patch for Shadowlands, alleged fixes, a new zone, blah blah blah. I mean, honestly, I paid like almost no attention to what was going on in retail because that patch is so far away right now. At this point, it's ridiculous. The bigger announcement we got, and the one that I'm way more excited for than anything that have to do with retail, and anybody who knows me or has talked to me like the last year when it comes to WoW knows that I've been waiting for this. We got confirmation that they were launching Burning Crusade servers. Now, I've been playing World of Warcraft since launch, but Burning Crusade is where I forged lifetime friendships. That's where me and Jordan played together for a long time, and it's got me really emotional right now because I didn't play Classic because I didn't need to, because I didn't really want to relive vanilla outside of the beginning level. I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool. I remember when this took forever, blah blah blah. So I didn't level a Classic character. I had no plan to do 40-man raiding. I had no plan to go Molten Core again, or BWL, or any of those things. I did those things when they were current. I don't want to do them again. And especially now with all the world buff cheesing that goes on in Classic WoW. Classic WoW has problems, like pretty serious problems. So let's talk a little bit about TBC. They to me, in my opinion, and again, everyone can feel differently. Some people who started playing during Wrath of the Lich King will tell you that they thought Wrath was the best, and that's totally fine, because it probably was the best to them because that's when they started. They weren't around during TBC. They don't know. They weren't around for vanilla. They didn't know like how much easier Wrath of the Lich King was compared to vanilla and BC. And even Classic WoW isn't what vanilla was. I mean, vanilla was way, way different than Classic WoW is, which is fine. But they announced that we will be getting it sometime this year, which is good. If I was a Batman, I'd say probably more like maybe earliest would be August. They haven't even done the beta yet, and we're almost to March. Yeah, no, I don't see it happening before August. August would be the absolute earliest. They are going to be using patch 2.4.3, which was the last patch we got before the Wrath pre-patch. This is really good for a couple different reasons. One, the talent system was balanced as best as it was going to get in 2.4.3. Absolutely was. Like some of the talent tree setups at BC's launch were pretty rough. It means that arena it's gonna be a little bit better for arena. Like you're not gonna see like Disc Priest Warrior dominating arena. I mean, you're still gonna see them do it very well, or Resto Druid Warrior, which was fucking gross. Because the rest of Druid is just cycloning people and healing, and the warrior just destroying people, and there's nothing that can change it. You have warrior tanks that were, you know, this is always a subject of contention within the tanking community, where warriors went from being the best quote. I mean, and I say this really badly in vanilla, like the best tanks, which wasn't actually the case. It was just druids weren't as knowledgeable in vanilla as they are now. Like a druid and a warrior tanking, the druid isn't dependent on gear. The warrior is. If the warrior has a bad weapon, that druid is going to pound that warrior into the ground with threat. It's no contest. And all the druid has to do is hit maul over and over and over. That's it. As long as they have a nice pile of the weapon out of mech, the crowd pummeler. I mean, it gives you like 100. It gives you like a 50% damage attack speed boost for like 30 seconds, and you can do it like every fucking 2 minutes. It's sick. I mean, the amount of burst threat is ridiculous. Like that, the druid is gonna pull off the warrior every time. It just is. But anyway, that was just how vanilla was. Everybody thought warriors were the best tanks, and all the warriors did was spam thunder armor. It wasn't like they were complex or anything. I mean, you would see really good warriors that could dual tank and pop a shield on and take it off and do some crazy shit. But majority of them were just hitting thunder armor and using heroic strike or something once in a while. That's it. So it's not like warrior was complicated, but warriors had an ego where when TBC launched, Blizzard was like, hey, we want druids to tank too, and we want paladins to tank too. Paladins could tank in vanilla, but not for very long because they would run out of mana. In TBC, they gave paladins a talent. First off, paladins aren't target capped, which is important to note. Paladins were like the AoE tank of the Burning Crusade. Like, no joke. They were the tank to have. For AoE, and there were only a handful of situations where you really, really needed the Pally tank. Would be like ZA is a good one during the what is that, the gauntlet where you're going up the hill. The Pally tanks are super good at grabbing those ads, but at the same time, if you had Hunter, you could misdirect. Actually, I don't know if they had misdirect in BC. I'm not sure. I might be. I'm not 100%. I can't. I mean, fucking Christ, this is like 15 years ago. I'm not 100%. And if they don't have, I want to say they did have misdirect though. I'm pretty sure they did. Whatever. If the DPS was smart, they would bring the ads to the tank, and the tank would just pull them off of you. So the druids and the warriors could tank the hill situation, but it was a lot harder, and it was so much easier for Pally tanks to do it. So like when we were raiding in the Burning Crusade, it was my friend Jason. He was a Pally tank. I was the druid tank. I did kitty on bosses I didn't need to tank, which in ZA, only like the bird boss, the one that throws the bombs. I think, or the tornadoes. I think that was the only time I went cat form. And then you had, so most of ZA, all of Mount Hyjal, straight up Pally tank raid. I mean, just swarms of ads all the time. The Morgan Tidewalker in SSE, you needed a Pally tank because you summon massive amounts of ads too. But man, that's it. Like, Pallies didn't even have a reliable taunt. Like what their version of taunt was called, I think it was called like Righteous Defense or something, and you would target a party member, and it would taunt. It would take away it would taunt everything, all up to 3 monsters that were attacking that person. So It was a taunt, but a really janky, weird one. I think towards the end of BC they would get like an actual taunt. Like once paladin tanks went from using intellect gear to using strength gear, they got a like actual taunt. But it was weird. It was a fucking like during the bear boss in ZA, like Jason had to literally target me, use righteous defense, and that would taunt the boss. Because there was a taunt swap mechanic, because he would do two different kinds of bleeds, and the tanks couldn't double stack the bleeds or they would die. So warriors are still very good. Druids very good. Druids would start to pull ahead of the warriors like around tier 6 ish. When around tier 6, Druids started to pull ahead, but it's not like warriors were bad. They weren't bad. It was just Druids were getting to be a little bit better, because Druids, and the main difference between the warrior and the Druid, because they have very similar things. Warriors had blocks, so they could block, but Druids could just straight up stack dodge, because they don't need to get hit to generate rage. Warriors do. So if the warrior would stack too much avoidance, they would literally not generate rage and they wouldn't be able to hold aggro. But Druids had talent that every time they get a crit, they would generate rage, and it was pretty often you'd see Druids creating critical hits. It's pretty often, especially like with like lacerate. The lacerate bleed would crit sometimes, and that would give you rage. Just stuff like that. So the druid, and that's how druids could be like the best off tanks, because warriors struggle to be off tanks because they struggle to get rage. Because like they could go in battle stance, right, and just melee swing and pool rage, but as soon as they went back to defensive stance, it would reduce them back down to 20 rage, which is only enough for like a shield slam and like maybe devastate. Not a lot of burst threat. So, but druids, they had no problem getting rage. They just say in bear form, just boom, 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 and just have a full pull rage on the taunt. I mean, that's like maul and mangle, and that's just crazy burst threat, especially if the druid has good gear. And another thing is that it was very, very easy for a druid to get defensive cap. Like, it's like stupid easy to get uncrittable, because you get a lot of it from your talents. So you only need, I think, memory serves, like 500. I mean, you can literally just use the heavy cleft hoof crafted blues, and you hit your defensive cap, and then you can just stack stamina and hit rating, and you're good to go. Like, you hit that 9% hit, you get defensive capped, and then you can try to get expertise or armor pen, depending on what phase you're in. Anyway, I go on about this shit for hours. Like, the tanking stuff in BC was so great because there's so much to it. Threat was a big deal. It mattered. There are so many ways to get good threat that I could literally go on and on about this shit for hours and hours. Anyway, so Blizzard announced that we're getting the Burning Crusade servers. We're getting it past 2.4.3. They're going to use the pre-nerfed versions of the bosses, which was great to me personally, because the boss fights in TBC were fucking hard. There's a couple of like things that worry me kind of about the pre-nerf stuff. Like the bosses, I'm perfectly fine with them leaving. I mean, they're tweaking like Muru to make it where people aren't stacking leatherworking drums. That's a whole nother thing. But I'm worried about like some of the trash mechanics. So some of the trash, like the trash in SSC would respawn like almost instantly. Like you'd clear the trash going from like the entrance to, I don't know, like fucking Lurker. And then by the time you killed Lurker, the trash had respawned, and you got to re-clear the trash. I'm hoping that they're not going to let that happen, because that turned Serpent Shrine into this raid that, in theory, it should be a short raid, because everything's like you walk in, right, and you go up this elevator, And everything's like in a fucking circle. There's like, you go here, there's a boss. Lurkers over here. You go around the circle, kill more bosses as you move your way through the cavern, and then you get to Vosh, and then boom, it should be a very short walk. But when the trash is respawning so fast, it turns into this whole thing. I mean, it could be like Black Temple lengths of depth to it, and it's just, when the raid was meant to be short because the tier 5 is SSE and Tempest Keep. So you go to kill Vosh, you go to kill Kel'Thas, and then you move on to tier 6. So I'm hoping that, they don't allow the trash to instantly respawn because, oh my god, it'd be terrible. The launch of Karazhan, like, a lot of the trash was immune to bleeds and stuff, which really sucks for the druids. It sucks for both cat and bear because they rely on bleeds, both of them do. I'm hoping they don't make them immune to bleeds. I mean, it makes sense because they're fucking like skeletons and shit, but it's still really annoying to tank. In that situation, you probably just let your fucking warrior tank and you pick up what you can. Or paladin. Ideally, it would be paladin because they can AoE stun everything because it's all undead. Anyway. So yeah, we're getting the pre-nerf version of the bosses with a few minor tweaks. They're getting rid of the spell pushback on Muru, which is good. They haven't used any other examples. And here is where I have a big problem with the classic community in general. And I can't believe that this is a thing right now because it is like mentally draining how stupid this is. There is a section of the community that believes that only them and the extremely hardcore deserve to play these games. That is stupid. That is very fucking stupid. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because they said that one per count, they're going to allow people to boost a character to 58 so that they can go into Outlands. The classic community thinks this is the worst fucking thing in the world, that their life is ending and blah, blah, blah. They're telling people like, oh, leveling in Azeroth's part of the experience. No, it's not. It is in vanilla, not in BC. First off, everybody in BC is going to be in Outland. What do you fucking care if somebody skips Azeroth? It's boring. Who wants to go through slow, annoying, shitty flight paths, bad graveyard spawns? Who wants to do that while all your friends are in fucking Outlands, like doing new dungeons and getting new gear and stuff? Fuck that shit. That is stupid. And if you're somebody like me who didn't give a fuck about vanilla, and now you have to go and level through classic, and you really don't want to, that sucks. Like, it's straight up gatekeeping at this point. Is the classic community wants whose viewpoint is only the hardcore, and half the people that are saying it are fucking idiots and they're terrible at the game. I mean, just garbage. Like, some of them are like literally our peers who just hang out in fucking towns and RP with other people. They don't do anything. It's not like they're out there raiding. They're not. They're sitting in there in fucking, what is that, Goldshire, like fucking RPing with each other about fucking anime fantasies. And they're the ones that are like fucking gatekeeping BC and stuff. I fucking hate this shit. I hope that these people stay in fucking vanilla, because they're also, that's the next point, they are giving you the choice when the pre-patch happens. By the way, I'm super fucking stoked that they're having a pre-patch, because the BC pre-patch was so fucking fun. There's like all this shit flooding out of the dark portal and stuff. It's so fucking badass. Way better than the Wrath one, when everybody talked about the Wrath one like it was fucking heaven. When the pre-patch happens, you got two choices. You can, well, yeah, technically you got three. Alright, so you can stay on your server, and all the current servers are going to move towards BC, so they're going to be progression servers. Or you can migrate your character to a classic only server, so you'll only play, your server will only ever go to vanilla. Why you do that is fucking beyond me. Or you can opt to pay for a copy of your character. So you could take a copy of your character, put it on an only vanilla server, and then have another copy of it that moves on to Burning Crusade. Now, to be fair, for the people who are raiding hardcore in Nax right now, I kind of get wanting a copy of their character because they fucking worked their ass off for like getting, best gear and tier 3 and all that stuff. Maybe they just want to fucking have it around and be like, yeah, this is my fucking character, it's badass, and I put all this work into it, which is fucking fine. And that's another fucking thing that the classic community is pissed about, because they're like, Blizzard shouldn't charge us. It's like, okay, first off, you don't have to pay anything to get all this crap. It comes with your regular sub. You're not buying an expansion. You're not doing anything. Two, it takes an IT department time to sort this code, to organize this crap. They have to pay for this crap out of something. Blizzard is not doing good. Like, financially speaking, as a company, they're fucking not. They might be making a lot of money, but they're spending just as much. I mean, you want to talk just like bottom line here? If they're going to be developing shit like Diablo 4, the Diablo 2 remake, WoW BC, the sequel to Overwatch, more shit for Heroes of the Storm, all that stuff costs money. All of it does. So yeah, them charging you fucking like whatever for something you don't have to get. Would be clear about that shit. You don't have to get this crap. Is bull crap for these people to mind. They're just bitching to bitch at this point. Twitter is a fucking cesspool of garbage right now. All these classic fanboys are seriously on my nerves with the shit that they're spewing. It's like if Blizzard was your parents and you were talking like this shit, they wouldn't buy you jack shit. I'll tell you right now, if my kids were like that, would complain at every turn, I wouldn't buy them shit ever. Blizzard is literally giving these people what they want, and it's still not enough. It's never enough. They're always mad. They always want more. They always want more. They always want more. It's not good enough. I want this. I need that. Give me this. Fuck off. You literally have to pay nothing more for BC. You're just getting it. You're already playing Classic WoW, so you already have a sub. That's all you need. Okay, so rant over when it comes to this. So needless to say, this was very good news for me personally. Like I said, I started in vanilla, but when Burning Crusade happened is when I developed a lot of my very good friendships. It's also a time in which I spent a lot of time with Jordan. Was in WoW, was in Burning Crusade. A lot of times with a very close friend of mine, Steven, who I know in real life. So BC has got me pretty choked up. I'm really excited to play again. Raiding in BC was a complete blast. And I think this time around I might actually try to do Arena. I did PvP on a Warlock a little bit in BC. I think that I definitely will give Arena a shot. Part of me is I have a warrior at max level, and I'm working on an alliance druid. I don't plan on quitting retail. But if time becomes the amount of days I'm raiding becomes a problem, then I may only do BC. But it just depends on what's going on in retail. When BC does launch it, retail is going to take a hard hit for a couple of months, probably like 3 or 4 months. Recruiting is going to be hard. People are going to quit the game. I know in my retail guild, there's already 4 or 5 people talking about quitting. Not because they don't like the guild, but because they want to play BC. So I'm torn on if I want to play my druid or my warrior. I know I don't want to play Paladin tank, and I know I want a tank. So I don't know. I'm just gonna kind of see what. I have a WoW friend that wants me to play Alliance, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't particularly enjoy Alliance like at all. I definitely prefer playing Horde. But it's whatever. I'll kind of see what the deal is. I'll know closer to launch. We got some other announcements at BlizzCon, stuff that I don't really care about, and I don't know much about the Overwatch and Hearthstone and all that shit. But I do know that Diablo is getting some stuff. They're working on Diablo 4. They were working on fucking Diablo Immortal or whatever it was, and Diablo 2 is getting a remake. It's just fine. There's a big community for Diablo. It's just not my thing. But I mean, that's fine. If you like Diablo, you like Diablo. Knock yourself out. I probably won't play it. Diablo is a huge time sink, and it's not very rewarding for me. I don't really like those games that are like single player games, and you can kind of group with somebody if you really want to, but you don't really have to. That's what Diablo is to me, and I'm just either be single player or be group based, but don't be both because it's janky. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So now that's it. Really, I'm going to try to hopefully start feeling better soon. I've been coughing so much, my rib cage and fucking back hurts. No more fever, which is great. I ended up buying a new headset. We got our taxes. We're going to go look at new furniture today, but with Joey being the way he is, I mean, obviously you can see right behind me there's fucking holes in the wall, and that is from Joey banging his head against it so much that he dents it in because he's nonverbal, and we're still struggling to find him help. And I'm afraid to go drop $2,000 on a fucking new sectional when he's just gonna tear it up. But yeah, so I think that's all I got. Kind of see what's up when as far as BC goes, but I will be finishing my Druid. I know I want to get engineering and blacksmithing on my warrior and leatherworking and another professional in the Druid, but I don't know which one. I might do engineering on the Druid too, because I could get the stamina trinket, which is really strong for tier 4. But I'll update you guys again in another week. Hopefully I can feel better and start getting back to some exercise, which I desperately need or I'm going to die. But I will talk to you guys soon. This video went a little bit longer than I wanted it to. I do look forward to BC, and I will be streaming it when it comes out. I'm going to try to get into the beta. If I can get into the beta, then I will stream it for sure. So if you guys want to see that, you guys know where to go for that. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.